Put up your...
Wow, did we skip the intro on that? Ethan's muted. And we are live.
Yeah, we are
going,
live.
Guys?
Hey, sorry everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I definitely can hear you. It's Ethan's
Okay.
mistake. He's been on, it's been his honeymoon. He's back now. This is, par for the course. He's just getting back into the whole situation of things.
Yeah, well, it didn't tell me that we were live for about 10 seconds, so I thought the intro was just playing for no reason.
I know you're staring really weirdly into the camera, but...
Yeah, because it wasn't telling me it was live, so I just thought everything was going on. But we're live now. We're back, so we've been gone because I got married, and then I went on my honeymoon.
Yeah, it was a great wedding, by the way, folks. If you're ever looking for a wedding venue to book in Boston, Nahant Island, I don't know what the place was called, the venue itself, great spot.
It's called
Phenomenal
the Ocean View
time.
of Nahant. Also, shout out DJ Dimitri.
Thank you, DJ
Dimitri. Was great. I actually need to write him a Google review.
I mean, you have to give him a good review. I was a tip of the cap from the DJ. I forget his last name already, but yeah, the DJ was great. The open bar was great too. I will say this is an off topic, but if you're going to have a wedding, I have no experience in planning or anything. Ethan has all of it. I feel like a staple, you have to go open bar. You have to do it. I know it's an expense, but you got to do it. No one's loving the beer and wine only. Go open bar. Come on.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, there's like two schools of thought. I would recommend having a smaller wedding and having an open bar, but I also feel like it's the vibe you're going for, because my wedding was not only family. Like there were a lot of people. I would say like half the wedding were people around my age.
Mm-hmm.
So like it also creates more of an environment where like everyone was out there, everyone's having a good time. But if it's like all your grandparents, then I don't know how necessary an open bar
I mean,
is.
if it's more of just a family-oriented one, I think I see what you're saying. But if it's a lot more people your age, get that open bar.
I agree. I tend to agree. I mean, it was a lot of fun. If anyone needs wedding tips, let me know. Just went through the process.
Crazy on the espresso martinis for the evening. I will say that.
It sounds like a lot of people went crazy on the espresso martinis. And
I mean, I don't know if it was me who started that idea, because I walked up and I said, I'd like that. And there's several people behind, like, I would also like that. And I know espresso martinis are very in right now, but I'm just saying maybe it was me for the night.
I mean, Ben Rexer was very into it. He had told me he had drank a bunch.
Well, Ben knows what's good. Ben's knows what's good. So no shock there.
Mm-hmm. Those wondering, I got a new San Diego Chargers. Oh, sorry. Got a new San Diego Chargers glass right here that I will be drinking this smoothie out of.
For a franchise that no longer exists in San Diego.
No, but I would like to believe it does.
They're never coming back. But that's okay.
Well, let's do the official intro. So today is August 22nd, 2023, and the NFL season is upon us. We just finished week 2 of the preseason. The Ravens streak has officially ended. The 24 in a row preseason games is officially gone. A record that I assume will never be broken, because that's like an absolutely insane record.
I mean, I tend to agree. I will say, tough loss for the Ravens to lose that streak, but it's a win for every other fan of the NFL, because we never have to hear about it again.
No, I mean, it was just the most boring storyline, and the media loves to hype that thing up.
Oh, they were huge on it. I mean, that was like their little darling for the preseason. Like, oh, the Ravens have not lost a preseason game 24 straight times. They've won one. I'm glad it's over with. I did see one tweet that was pretty lame about it too, when the Commanders got a turnover and like a bunch of their third or fourth stringers were in and they celebrated. Someone was like, oh, this is a bottom 5 all-time corniest thing to do, which that's ridiculous, because most of those guys are going to be without a job come 2 weeks. So I would hope in the moments that they have as professionals that they enjoy what they're doing.
Well, I mean, my biggest thing going into it is the Commanders really acted like they didn't care. And then clearly during the game, they cared a lot. I mean, I get it. It's just a boring storyline overall. I mean, it's a record that'll never get broken, so congratulations.
It'll be a great trivia question one day.
It will be. How many consecutive games did the Ravens win in the preseason? What's the record? I mean, 24 is insane, especially now with only 3 preseason games. I mean,
how many? It's like what?
I mean, they started in 2015, just for perspective.
It's a long time to do it.
They have not lost a preseason game since 2015. So
yeah,
congratulations to them. So where we're starting off today is we're going to bounce around between the NFL and the MLB because we got a couple storylines in the MLB that we're going to kind of jump through. But we're starting big into the NFL, and we're starting off with rapid fire predictions. So we're just going to go through, and how I thought we'd do this instead of just sitting here and giving record predictions for every single team, we just do general playoff implications. Like, who do we think is going to be the first seed, which means they won their division? Who's going to be the other division winners in our 3 wild cards? And just because I think we want to save a little bit more of the homerism for a little bit, let's start off with the NFC.
Yeah, so, I like that idea.
So in the NFC, who is going to be your first seed?
So I think the first seed, I got to assume this is a consensus at this point. I think they have the best quarterback in the conference, probably the most complete team in the conference. It's got to be the Eagles as the first seed. I think they'll have a little bit of pushback in the division because it is strong, but let's be honest, they're head and shoulders above everyone else. I think the Eagles are clearly the 1 seed.
I totally agree. I don't really think there's going to be much competition. The only reason I could see them not being the 1 seed is if they split with Dallas, maybe.
I mean, Dak is looking bad. But
I know, I agree, but I'm just saying, like, they play in probably the toughest division in the NFC, which isn't saying much about the state of the NFC right now.
No.
So that would be my only really pushback to maybe. I mean,
San Francisco could. San Francisco could. However, as much as I like Brock Purdy, I'm not going to go that far.
No, I'm not there at all. I mean, we'll see how he is, but
I agree. But yeah, Eagles number 1 seed, I think is
and then are the 49ers your 2 seed? Or they
I think looking at it right now, there's no one in the NFC North that I feel confident enough in. There's teams that I like in that division, but there's no one that I sit there and say, okay, roster construction wise, head coaching wise, consistency wise, I like more than Shanahan and the 49ers at this point. So I would go San Francisco as a 2 seed.
Okay, so I'm going to be bold, and they're not my 2 seed, but I am going to be bold here. I think the Seahawks win the NFC.
No, God, so you do this bullshit every year. The Seahawks,
and I'm right. I'm right.
No, you're not. No, you're not. But why are the Seahawks going to win? Why are they going to win the West?
Well, it's funny you say consistency. Pete Carroll is just as consistent as Kyle.
He is. But the problem is that there's a difference in roster construct.
But Geno Smith is better than Brock Purdy.
Yeah, but what happened to the NFC playoff game last year when these two teams played?
I mean, I agree. They got absolutely stomped out, but Seahawks
they hung in there for
like
I'll give them credit. They did hang in, but yeah, they got curb stomped by the 49ers at the end of the day.
Yeah, but when I just look at it, and I understand that the 49ers are, I mean, they're an incredible team. I just got to think at some point, all of these defensive assistants are going to catch up to them. And I'm not saying it's going to be this year, but at some point, this defense is going to take a step back.
I agree. I mean, Saleh and DeMeco Ryans being gone back-to-back years. Now you got to fill in another void. I don't know. Maybe they can do it again, but I do think I agree with that point.
Like, it's just, at some point, this defense isn't going to be a top 5 unit year in and year out. And where I'm at right now is I just think Seattle has one of the most complete rosters. And honestly, from a offensive weapons standpoint, they probably have, besides for maybe even you'd consider better than the Bengals.
Absolutely
just because I'm just saying their running back core is definitely better than the Bengals.
Well, Jackson Smith and Jigba's hurt. Now he's having surgery on his hand.
Oh, how long is he out? I guess I missed that.
He's out until the early part of the season, I guess.
Oh, maybe that does change my prediction a little bit.
Well, you already said it. You already said it. No. You already said it.
I didn't know Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Well, maybe keep up with the times there, Ethan. Jesus Christ.
Well, I guess I just missed the news today. Was this a today thing?
Yes, it was a today thing that happened today.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I still picked them, but who do the Seahawks? Oh, they have like Will Dissly. That's their tight end.
Dissly's their tight end.
I don't know. I just feel like they have a really
very solid group. Yes, I agree.
They're very solid. Their offensive line was very good last year. It's going to continue to take steps forward. Defense continues to get better. They had a really young team last year that way overplayed expectations.
I agree.
And the way that they're shaping up, maybe I'll be completely wrong. I just have a feeling that I'll tell you that's my really only big bold take of who's going to win a division.
That's
my biggest.
I'll probably have one or two that surprises, but
they're not my 2 seed. I don't think they'll be the 2 seed if they end up coming out because I think I don't think they'll have enough wins to stack it up. Because I think
agree.
these top teams in the NFC will have like 15, 14 wins.
Okay. So then you're going, who's your 2 seed then?
2 seed being a little bit bold too. I'm picking the Detroit Lions.
No, they're not. It's just, that's complete.
I think they're winning the NFC North.
So, okay, I can get behind the Lions winning the NFC North. I have the Lions winning the NFC North, but you have them being the number 2 seed.
Yeah, I mean, who else is going to be you got to think about it. I think these other top teams with high records are going to be in the wild card. And so when I stack it up, I'm going to go to the Lions. I think they will end with like 12 wins. I think the Seahawks will have like 11 wins. And then my 4th seed, who will be the NFC North, obviously, I'm going to pick the Saints.
To the NFC South, the Saints are going to be 4th place. Okay, that's fine. See, I think divisionally we have the same winners. I think the Saints win the South. I think the North goes to the Lions. I think the East goes to the Eagles. And I think the West goes to the aforementioned 49ers in my mind.
Yeah. All right. So who are your wild cards? Let's talk about these 3
My
teams.
wild cards are a little different. I think they're going to also be a little bit bold just looking at it. I actually have for one of my wild card teams, I have Seattle as one of them. Obviously, that to me is not bold. Yeah. The next 2, a little bit more bold. I have the Green Bay Packers as a wild card team.
Wow.
I think the Packers are going to surprise a lot of people. I have a feeling of Jordan Love is going to surpass expectations of what people have thought he is going to be after being the heir to Rodgers. So I like him from that standpoint. We'll see how that goes. I think the Packers also just have some nice offensive pieces in general. Again, there's a lot to be seen. And my final playoff team, this will surprise, but I have faith. I'm sending 3 teams from the NFC North. I'm picking the Chicago Bears to sneak into the playoffs. They are my final playoff team.
Wow. Whoa, really? Wait.
Yes.
I guess
Yeah.
So the team you're leaving out is the Vikings?
I'm sorry. Wait, Jesus Christ. I just left the Vikings. Vikings, sorry. Yes, great point. Vikings are taking the Bears spot. Never mind. The Bears are not making the playoffs. And that's
sorry. That was what I was.
Yeah, no, my bad. Forgot about the Vikings because they're so boring sometimes. But yes, the Vikings will make it. Sorry, Vikings fans. You will make it. The Seahawks will make it. I will have Green Bay be the other team. Bears fans, get close, I still think. I think Justin Fields has to show a lot this year, and I think he does. So, but I forgot about the Vikings. The Vikings sometimes, I'm just like, they exist. Kirk Cousins is there. I like their pieces, but they'll lose in the first round. The defense isn't very good either.
I'm relatively on the same. We have a lot of the same teams. I'm not on the Packers. My team is the Giants. So I have as my wild cards the 49ers, the Giants, and then the Vikings is where I would land on it.
Okay.
I understand the 49ers. Totally get it. Or I understand not the 49ers, the Packers. Mm-hmm. I get where you're coming from. I just think this wild card race is going to be really close. Like, I think Dallas will probably be right there in it. I just don't like Mike McCarthy, and I think honestly losing.
I've lost faith in Dallas at this point. That's my
thing.
problem. I think I've just lost faith in Dallas and that they can do anything.
I mean, I get it, and I really believe Kellen Moore was the big reason why that team was so productive, and they let him go. So
they let him go. Again, I feel like I did in some ways gloss over the NFC East. I do like the Giants, but I think I still have problems with the Giants. Like, I think regression of Daniel Jones, will that shock me if it happens? No, and I kind of feel like it might. The Commanders intrigue. I think Sam Howell is very intriguing. I am sort of spurned by them, but I also don't know how much I buy enough for him to do anything. The defense is always solid, but I still, for some reason, I don't know why, I still feel like the Packers sneak in there. I feel like there's more to like that meets the eye. I think that's why I end up giving it to them. So, yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I totally understand. So let's go on over to the AFC, the more interesting conversation.
Far more interesting.
Because I think this is where seeding can be different. I think this is where you can be a lot more bolder because there's maybe 10 teams you could pick to be in this.
Oh, yeah.
To be in the thick of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, why don't we start off? Do you want to start off with wild cards or do you want to start off with the number 1 seed?
Well, so, I mean, I feel like there's only 2 teams in my mind that will compete for the 1 seed. One of them will probably shock you.
I'm curious if it's the same one I am because there's
I think it
actually
probably is. I think it probably is.
there's Kansas City,
Yeah.
clearly who you're thinking about. Is the
Yes.
other one Jacksonville?
Yeah, okay. I think Jacksonville's the other team because
Okay.
Jacksonville has a cakewalk of a schedule.
That's
It's a joke.
where I'm at too. I'm kind of thinking it might be Jacksonville.
So I think Cincinnati theoretically has a chance, but the problem is that Cincinnati plays in a very difficult division. They're probably going to lose 2 games in the division somewhere. Jacksonville, I don't see it on the schedule of them losing. Realistically, somewhere on their divisional, everything else, interconference, outer conference is a joke. That's why I see them getting it. It'd be a really interesting and weird 1 seed, but I still think Kansas City gets the 1 though. Until proven otherwise, Patrick Mahomes and that offense is still one of the best on the planet. I think they've only are going to be better this year than they were last year. So I have them being the 1 seed. I have them over Jacksonville. I'm tempted to do Jacksonville. I'm not going to do Jacksonville though.
Yeah.
I know you want to do it. I know you want to do it.
No, I'm not going to predict it. I'm going to pick Kansas City, but I really do. It's just that their division is so easy. Their division is so
really easy. It's really easy. That's the thing that makes it tough. Is it's like, yes, it is so simple. It's so easy for them to do it, and I could see them doing it any day. I just think I'll pick the team that's more talented over anything else.
I agree. It's just that it's so easy.
I know.
It's so easy. Yeah. Well, so yeah, I'm gonna go Kansas City, and then I'm gonna go Jacksonville number 2.
Then
when we get to the AFC North, I think this will be our 3rd seed. I'm gonna pick the Cincinnati Bengals.
I go Cincinnati at number 3.
I understand the other arguments. I'm not there with the Ravens yet.
Mm-mm.
I get people love Zay Flowers. I understand the traits, but I mean, last night people were really falling in love with the yak with Zay Flowers on that touchdown, and like he made one dude miss and then ran straight to the end zone. I'm like, it's impressive, but it's not like all of a sudden I'm ready to. He's like the difference in their whole offense.
My big thing with the Ravens is just a generally large amount of question marks. Zay Flowers, I think he looks great. He's a rookie. He hasn't done anything yet. Lamar Jackson missed a lot of time last season. He's coming back off injuries, coming back after holding out. Interested to see how he does. I think he'll be great. Interested in the whole new offense that they have as an offensive coordinator. You're relying a lot on Odell, who's coming off 2 ACL surgeries now at this point. That's not something that a lot of guys do particularly well off of. Rashad Bateman, again, he's a player I like, but he's injured all the time. I've never seen this guy on the field. And truth be told, the only consistent factor in the offense outside of Lamar for the last couple of years has been just that of Mark Andrews. So if there's not that, then what are we really dealing with here?
No, yeah, I totally agree. I don't really see it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think they're there, but I'm also not there on really the other AFC North teams, to be
honest.
Everyone, I don't have either of them as playoff teams. Just heads up.
I agree. I think it's for me, Cleveland definitely not. I think Cleveland fans think Cleveland is like they're back again this year. They're not. I think Cleveland's a bad team again.
Yeah.
I think they're not a top 10 pick, but they're somewhere between 10 to 17 picking. And the Steelers, Mike Tomlin doesn't really ever allow them to finish under 500. I think they will be strong. But this idea that some people are pitching them as a team that could go out and win the North, to me, is ludicrous. I don't see nearly enough there for any of that to happen.
I don't either. I'm not there.
So
I'm not there at all.
Cincinnati's a 3 to me. Jacksonville 2. Kansas City 1.
And then number 4,
the East.
Oh,
which is tough.
I know who I'm picking. Do you want to go first? You want me to pick?
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. This is tougher for me than I think most, just because I can't see the arguments for the Jets. I can see the arguments for the Dolphins. I can't see a single argument for the Patriots, but that's because they're bad now. I will pick.
I'm picking the Jets. I'll just get up.
I'm going to pick the Buffalo Bills.
Because
here's why. And this really has nothing. This is not a personnel decision on my end. I think Aaron's going to have a good year, but I think not the Packers, but the Jets are getting a generational glazing from Hard Knocks right now. I think there's going to be one or two things that go wrong, and that locker room might just implode on itself.
Yeah.
That's my concern, is that we're going to have this week one. They play what? Buffalo week one? Is that it?
I actually don't know who they play week one.
I think it might be. But whatever. Like, if they lose a week one game to, again, I think it is let me just look it up really quick, the Bills schedule.
Yeah, they do play the Bills.
I feel like a lot of people are going to pick the Jets, and they're going to lose that game, and a lot of questions are immediately starts flowing. Oh, is this team actually as good as we thought? I feel like the Jets are just a team that's prone to stupidity, and that might show its head again. That's just my take. I think Buffalo wins the division. It's sort of nonsensical in some ways, but I don't see the Jets winning it.
It's a good point. I mean, so I actually have the Bills finishing in third.
Do the Dolphins ahead of them?
I do have the Dolphins ahead of them. But the Dolphins have a lot of question marks because of this whole Jalen Ramsey situation, this Terran Armstead situation.
Yeah.
I just like Mike McDaniels a lot.
I do like Mike McDaniel too, but I hate Tua.
I just don't believe in the Bills, honestly. Like, I know people are still keeping them in the conversation. They're at the Bengals level. They're at the Chiefs level. They're not there.
I really don't think that they are. I think what the Bills are going to suffer for in this team, at least in my opinion at this point, is I think they wanted it to be a Mahomes-Allen rivalry so bad. So bad. And they're never going to get it. They're not going to get it. And they should try to, I mean, realistically, I don't even think Allen's probably the third most competitive against Mahomes at this point. I think Burrow has the most competition against him in the AFC, and I think Herbert gives him better games every season than Josh Allen does.
I mean, right now Herbert's 2-3 against Mahomes.
What's Allen? Like 1-2?
I have no idea. I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, it's just because of that one game. If it wasn't for that one playoff game where they went back and forth, then I don't really think this would be a conversation. No. And yes, Allen has all the talent. The issue is the Bills just...
I don't like the Bills defense that much. That too. I'm not a big fan of the Bills defense. I like Allen,
but really a fan of the Bills outside of Josh Allen, to be quite honest.
And Diggs, obviously Diggs. You gotta like Diggs.
Yeah, I mean, I like Diggs, but it doesn't. I mean, there is so much smoke around Diggs. I mean,
I agree, but I concur to that point. The weaponry outside of Diggs, like Dalton Kincaid, he's there, right? Or is he a Packer?
He's there now. Yeah.
I like Kincaid, but they also already have what's his face, Dawson Knox. So like, I get it. You want to maybe run a 2 tight end set. That'd be kind of weird. Gabe Davis, what a flop last year was. Isaiah McKenzie's your 3. I don't know. I feel like good defenses stop that, and they did last year.
They got James Cook, who can't run forward for his life.
I mean, this is just observations, but again, I don't have a ton of. I mean, I still think the Bills. Again, I'm almost like talking myself out of the Bills. It sounds like, but I still think the Bills win that division. Weirdly,
I get it. No, I understand the pick. I think it's going to be really close, and I think these teams. I think it'll come down to tiebreakers.
Yeah.
I just feel like the Jets have the most talented roster, so I'm going to go with the talent, but I can definitely see them falling apart at the seams.
I think they have the worst coach, though.
Saleh?
I don't think Saleh's a very good coach. That would be a take for me.
I don't know if I agree
with that. Coach.
I don't know if I agree with that. I like McDermott. A lot of people are saying he's the worst in the division. I don't think that's true.
No, Sean McDermott, I think, is a better head coach than Robert Saleh.
I also think he's a better head coach than Mike McDaniels, to be honest. But
Mike McDaniels is an offensive-minded guy, though, which I do really like.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about wild cards now.
Yeah. So first wild card, I will go with the Jets. The Jets will be a wild card team for me. I do think Rodgers is really good. I think they are a wild card team that no one would truthfully want to face because of the weaponry that they have, the defense that they have. I think they are certainly a wild card team. That's the first one that I pick. What about yourself?
Oh, do you want me to do mine?
Yeah, go. Actually, no, I'll finish off. I'm sorry. I'll go with the Chargers as my next one. I think the Chargers are a playoff team again this season. I think they will be playing on the road. And then my last wild card team will be Baltimore. I think Baltimore gets in. I think Baltimore is my last wild card.
I guess I shouldn't have said I thought there were going to be 3 AFC East teams because I don't. Because I think the Chargers are one spot. I just think, just from a perspective of the AFC West is probably the second easiest division, and I think the Chargers will at least steal 3 from the Raiders and Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they have some easier games on the schedule. They have Justin Herbert, things like that. So I think they'll be a wild card team. I do think the Ravens will also be a wild card team. And then my last one is I really want to leave the Bills out, but there's no way I can leave the Bills out. The Bills will be a wild card team.
All right.
They're still good enough. I mean, it's still Josh Allen. At some point, I'm just going to pick quarterbacks, and Tua isn't there for me. But I get it. All right. So let's move over to the MLB a little bit, and let's talk about everyone's favorite team, the Anaheim Angels.
They've done it again, folks. I've said it so many times, but they've done it again. I was really happy, and I don't enjoy this sentiment, but the Angels at the deadline, they went for it. Awesome. Fantastic. I love them trying to go out there and get Giolito. I love some of the other moves that they made. It all didn't work, and they suck worse than they did before the deadline, and that's a tragedy. They're going to get Mike Trout back, but it's over already, so it doesn't truthfully matter.
It doesn't matter, especially with the way that their division is shaping up. I mean, it's like an absolute 3-headed race at the top.
Yeah, so, I mean, the Mariners, the Astros, and the Rangers are all sitting there at the top playing really. I mean, the Mariners are hot as it gets right now. I mean, they believe they won 7 or 8 straight. Houston's Houston, Texas, losing again to Arizona tonight, I think. So, yeah, for the Angels, it sucks, man. I mean, to go for it and buy in and try to make moves, which I commend every single time, but for it to backfire this bad, Ohtani's gone. I mean, he's going to be somewhere else. That's officially official now. I mean, I know it's not, he's not signed somewhere else, but it's over. I hope they enjoyed the time that they had with him. He'll be a Dodger next season. So it's tough. I commend them for trying to go out there and make plays on guys and get better. But for some reason, the Angels cannot figure out a way to formulate any winning. And it's going to be really interesting to look back 30 years from now. And you sit there and you're like, oh, Shohei Ohtani, Hall of Famer, regarded as one of the most dominant baseball players of all time, if not the most talented baseball player of all time. And then Mike Trout, a guy that was the most dominant player of his era for the better part of 15 years. And they made how many playoff appearances together? 0? That's crazy. That's crazy. Just to think that that's actually going to be true, that they never made the playoffs together. It's almost insane. Inconceivable.
It's crazy. I mean, there's not much to say at this point. Like,
no.
There's not like I don't have that much to say.
No, I don't think there is. I just thought it was worth mentioning. We thought about it that somehow, some way, despite improving their roster on paper, they got worse.
I mean, yeah, it's insane. I mean, this whole deadline was really weird because like so many teams that bought right out of the deadline just immediately fell flat. Mm-hmm. And then all these teams that sold, like, got good afterwards.
I don't know. Obviously, there was some sort of, something's in the water in Seattle again. They sold off Paul Sewald. They sold off other pieces thinking that, hey, we're not really in it right now. And all their young talent rose up and got them back into things. So,
I mean, J-Rob maybe had the best week an MLB player has, like, ever had. I mean, he had 17 hits in 4 games.
Mode. But, yeah, I just think for the Angels, it's sad. This is a sad way for the tenure of Shohei Ohtani to end in Los Angeles, in Anaheim, I should say.
You know what's really sad? What's happening over in Tampa Bay with Wander Franco.
All right. Wander, hope you enjoy jail, buddy. It's over. This is...
I
can't even believe... When this dropped, behold, it dropped on the night that the Rays were giving away hats to people who were 14 and under to that ball game, and this dropped on that day. I don't know if that was fake or not. It looked real from the team's website. Crazy. This is one of the most unbelievable and disgusting stories I've heard in a long time out of any professional sport.
So I don't know how you heard about it, but how I heard about it is I was just seeing on Twitter everyone talking about Wander Franco, but like for some reason, no one said what actually happened.
Yeah, you're just seeing the quote tweet reactions.
Yeah, so then I started to like look into it, and the grosser and grosser
Probably didn't like
it
what you
became.
Found. Nope, not good. Really not good. I mean, it's open. They're taking, from what I read, they're taking stuff down of everything of Wander Franco in Tampa Bay right now. Like inside the stadium, they're taking it down.
They should.
I mean, they should. It's not, the investigation's not over yet, but it's over. It's over. It's definitely over. He's toast. I mean, I've heard from.
he like admitted to it. and was like bragging about it.
Yeah, I mean, from those screenshots of the Instagram stories,
Yeah.
it's insane. I mean, just disgusting behavior out of the guy. It's almost unfathomable. This dude had everything and decided to essentially be a pedophile. That's what it boils down to. Also, I mean, there's nothing ironic about the story, but the Rays finally pay someone. They paid this guy $200+ million. Rays never pay anyone. They never do that. And he's a pedophile. He's done forever. It's over.
What happens to his contract?
I gotta feel like there's gotta be some sort of clause for if you're put into a federal penitentiary, or you're extradited back to your country to face charges like this. You have to void the contract. That has to be the thing, right?
Yeah, I assume so. But like Aaron Hernandez's contract technically wasn't voided.
Yeah, but I thought that there was some sort of law in New England that if you died while you were in prison, that you would be able to retain. I don't know. It was some sort of like your spouse and when his child were able to take the money that he had still owed to him. Not sure. But no, this Wander's doing life for being a disgusting freak, and the Rays are out of their shortstop.
Yeah. Insane. I mean, again, it's like another story. I don't have a lot to say. Just
no, it's
like,
just foul. I couldn't even, again,
gross.
When it first popped up on Twitter, I, like you, was like, why are people talking about Franco?
It's not Twitter.
It's X. Sorry, fuck off.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's X. My bad. Anyway, yeah, I saw it. I was like, why are people talking about Wander Franco? And then 2 clicks later, oh, that'll be your career, buddy. That'll be jail time. Hope you enjoy prison because you're a disgusting freak.
Absolutely insane.
No.
But also what's insane is Orioles owner came out and basically said what everyone assumes, which is, why would you pay a guy $300 million?
Yeah.
Because so to tell you the truth, when I read it, I originally thought like it was stupid, but I kind of understand his thinking.
Do you understand it though?
Well, I don't, because it's not like going to baseball games right now is cheap, and that the Orioles are like, they're like a cheaper stadium and concessions are cheaper. If that was the case, I'd actually understand what he's saying. Like if they kept their bottom line, like hot dogs are still $1, like things like that.
They're not.
Then I would understand of like, hey, like I don't want to raise payroll because then actually prices within the stadiums go up and the fan experience goes away. I understand that perspective, but that's not what the Orioles are doing. So
they're absolutely not.
That's how he explained it, but that's not what the Orioles are doing. The Orioles just don't want to pay someone because then they won't make as much money. It's not because then other costs will go up.
Totally. The thing that's the most insane and diabolical about all of this is that all the players he's discussing, like Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Colton Cowser, I mean, none of them are due for extensions here in the relative future. He has years to sit on this, and somehow he's already getting out ahead of it. Like, whoa, like, don't be preposterous. We completely could pay all of these guys, but we simply are not going to pay but maybe one of them. That's what's going to happen. Like, Orioles fans, prepare yourself mentally because this team will be broken up in a matter of 5 years.
I mean, but to be honest, like,
he can pay all of them, Ethan, if he really wanted to.
He can, but like the thing is of like from a player's perspective, it must be so disheartening to hear this. But then this is the thing that makes the MLB so tough is like these dudes are still locked in for like 7 more years.
Yeah, they have all these arbitration years where they can't get out of it.
That's what's crazy about the MLB is like you're sitting there like, wow, that's like he's not going to pay these guys.
Wow, he doesn't give a shit that we're.
But then you realize like these dudes are locked in for like 7 seasons.
No,
like we're talking about,
they're
not even going to be free agents till like 2030.
See, that's the reason when people, I will say for baseball specifically, when fans, I should say, get mad at players like, oh, why did you take that 9-year deal somewhere else and show loyalty? Because that's the only contract extension they're going to get. They're age 26, 27 when this is coming up. They're more than likely not getting another one. So, of course, they're going to go out there and chase the money for what they want. They're not going to be like, oh, yeah, I'll take a 3-year team-friendly deal to stay and keep things around. No, screw that. Go get your freaking money like you should. And don't be shocked when your team gets broken up because your owner's a piece of shit and won't spend money. Even though if the Orioles played it right, and spent money, they would win so many championships with this team that they have right now.
For sure.
This team is loaded. They haven't even brought up Jackson Holiday yet.
I know. The biggest one hasn't even.
The biggest guy is not even there yet.
Which is crazy. I mean, this core is going to be locked in, even without this idea of I'm not going to re-sign these dudes. Like, these dudes are way too expensive. They're still locked in for like the next 5 years, where he's going to have all of these guys.
I completely, yeah. It's crazy. I mean, the Orioles, and this is the thing that's going to bother me too about the Orioles' success, whatever that they have, and sort of dates back to the Astros' success that they have and where they are now as a franchise, is people be like, oh, look, the Orioles did it. That's the plan that we have to use. That's bothersome to me because, truth be told, it's so rare for a team like Baltimore to go out and do this. They have hit like 6 straight drafts, guy after guy after guy. You can't expect that to be a reality. And I know people say, oh, well, Houston did this just years ago, back from like 2010 to 2015. Okay, yeah, they did, but look what Houston did after they got good again. They went out and spent money. They extended these players. They went out and made a continuous effort to rebuild and not just sit on the players they drafted during that time. They went out and opened their wallets. They got Verlander. They got Cole. They made moves. Baltimore has no intention of doing that from what it sounds like right now. They are just going to win when they can right now. And then when it comes time to pay any of them, they're going to ship them off to a team like New York.
Yeah.
Or Boston.
But that's the thing, is like, I sit here and want to criticize it, but honestly, like, with the way that the MLB is set up, like, how did the player union like even agree to any of this, that they're just locked in for so long? And
I mean, they get all that guaranteed money if you do sign a deal.
I guess that's true, but so many dudes don't make it to that huge extension.
I agree. I completely agree. I mean, it's a very rare feat for that to happen, but it does happen.
I mean, like Austin Nola, right? Like, I mean, Austin Nola is really bad right now, so I'm not trying to use him as an example,
Yes.
but like, or like Jake Cronenworth. Jake Cronenworth's a better one, of like these dudes like that are in their 30s already and still can be opted to AAA and technically aren't even up for extension. Austin Nola has never been extended.
No, nor he ever will be. He never.
I mean, Jake Cronenworth just was, but the Padres shouldn't have done it.
No, that was a terrible decision by the Padres. I mean, take care of your player. Yeah, cool, awesome, but you also never should have done that.
Here, I gotta go grab my computer charger if you want to talk on it for a second.
Oh my gosh. Well, I've talked about it already enough at this point, but yeah, if you're an Orioles fan, again, I feel very bad for you because this is sort of a very bitter taste being left in your mouth on what has been a phenomenal season. And probably at this point, if they got better starting pitching at the deadline, I think they should have gone out there into more than getting Jack Flaherty. Looks like it could be a World Series constructed roster. I don't know if it'll play out the way, but enjoy the time that you have with the team right now, because it looks like your owner is already figuring out a way to soften the blow of having these guys depart here in about 3 or 4 years, which is going to suck because Baltimore's a great baseball town. They don't deserve that.
No, not at all.
No.
But let's talk about our last thing of the day, which is the perfect NFL parlay.
So get your notebooks out, folks. This one's going to hit hard.
So with the NFL season coming up, one of the favorite things that every fan loves to do is look at betting lines and bet on random stuff, and hopefully bet on your team to win the Super Bowl because they have plus 100,000 odds because they're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes. So what Clark and I are going to do is, through Prize Picks, we both locked in 2 things that we want to add to our NFL season parlay.
This will be the culmination. We'll call it the from the backseat can't miss parlay. That's what it's going to be.
We'll call it that. So Clark, why don't you give us our first one and then we'll just go back and forth.
Okay, so this for me, this is the one I feel very confident about. I don't know if you picked the same one because he plays for your team, but I have Keenan Allen over 900.5 receiving yards.
Oh, I have the same one, but on mine it's 875.
Okay, well, we'll stick. I have another one option too, but I like Keenan at 900.5. I think with Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator, it's a fantastic look. I think the offense gets more innovative. He still makes guys miss in his routes. He's still a crisp route runner. Herbert still loves throwing the football. Injury concerns I do get because he's a little bit older, but at 900.5, still really like him. He had a really good stretch between week 11 and week 18. I think he gets to possibly another 1,000-yard season. He's looked really good in training camp. Again, I think the addition is Kellen Moore as the OC gets him even more targets. I think 900.5 is an easy smash.
But yeah, so I had the exact same one. I actually picked 3, so I'm totally fine.
Oh, fine, yeah, good.
The one I like the best, which I'll say now, is I don't understand how it's so low, which is Aaron Rodgers 399.5.
They going for
basically
4,000.
Yeah, I definitely think he's gonna go over 4,000.
Injuries, maybe. I think that is some of the. I do agree. Some of the lines are interesting, but 4,000. He was well below that last year. Keep that in mind.
He was. No, I agree. I just think
last year, I think
his weaponry is so much better now. I mean, the run game, while it might take away a little bit, it's gonna help the passing game a lot. And while the offensive line isn't great, it just really feels like he's gonna go over 4,000. Now, I don't know how much over 4,000.
I would feeling over 4K.
Yeah, definitely.
That's fair. I mean, look, I think Rodgers still spins it with the best of them up there. I just don't know. I like that though. I think 2 for 2 we're hitting so far. I have a lot of confidence in that. I think this one might be the one that kills us, in my opinion, that I'm about to get out next. But this is a guy who is going to be the start of the whole season. I don't think there's any way he gets replaced unless he's injured. There's no one on the roster right now. I mean, there is someone on the roster right now, but he's a long time step in for you quarterback. Desmond Ridder, over 2,575.5 yards passing. If he is the starter for the whole season in a modern NFL offense that includes Drake London, Bijan Robinson, Cordell Patterson, Kyle Pitts, you're not going to tell me he's going to get some lucky yak out of Bijan. He's definitely going to. A slip screen can go for, 60 yards with Bijan anytime he wants to. Also, that one, for him to pass this number, he only needs to average like more than 160 yards a game. He can, I mean, come on. That's really basic to do.
No, I agree. I also saw it and thought about saying it, but I ended up going with the Aaron Rodgers one just because I really feel like Rodgers is going to do 4,000.
This is a total crapshoot because Desmond did nothing last year. He averaged like 177 yards a game, which would be good enough to hit this, by the way. And I know people have been like, what is he doing in training camp, underthrowing every single pass he has? But if I'm not mistaken, he is London, Pitts, Robinson, Patterson. He still has Zacchaeus out there, I think. There is enough out there for him to get yak, to get some jump balls caught. I think if he can't manage 3,000 yards, I mean, Jesus Christ, hang it up. But that's my pick right there.
No, I like it. I like it. And I like the boldness of it. It's really creative.
Mm-hmm.
So I dug into the bag in this one, and I'm surprised the number is so low. So I'm going over to receiving touchdowns. And I'm picking a dude who maybe has a little bit of preseason hype. And Clark and I were down on last year, but I think for receiving touchdowns, and I'm picking Darren Waller at 4.5.
Oh my God.
I don't see any way at 4.5 touchdowns. I don't see any way he has less than 4 touchdowns in the season. I mean, at least in the red zone, the Giants are going to at least throw him the ball on play action because they're just going to use Saquon as the decoy. I mean, 5 touchdowns. We're talking about a dude who's bigger than almost every DB in the league. I mean, at least in the red zone, I just don't see any way he has less than. I'm not saying how productive he's going to be, but 4 touchdowns seems extremely low just for any top.
Well, he's got to get 5. He's got to get 5. But I agree. I think 5 is a production number based off years prior when he was very good. And I've heard a lot of good things at his training camp. And I heard Daniel Jones does like to target him. I just worry of a guy like, for some reason, this pops in my head, like a guy like David Bellinger. Poaching touchdowns from him. I can see that.
It's Cody Bellinger. Or no, it's not. Is it David?
Cody Bellinger. It's David Bellinger, I think. Is
David Bellinger for the Giants?
I want to say so, yes. So my only worry with that is I feel like Daniel Jones will just ran some like bullshit number of touchdowns in. They'll hand it off to Saquon. They'll throw it to like Darius Slayton for some. Like Richie James will end up getting more targets in the red zone than Darren Waller by year's end.
But look,
I still like that. 4.5. I'm feeling good about 4.5. I think it's if he doesn't get 5, I would be shocked. Because he's a fast tight. He's an athletic tight end too, so he can make guys miss. He's not just a red zone.
The other thing is, what I think about is, why am I blanking on their coach's name? What's their coach's name? Oh, Brian Daboll. I mean, he got Dawson Knox 10 touchdowns one season.
I agree.
I mean, he got Bellinger to be relevant last year.
I agree. I'm not debating any of that.
So that's why I went. I feel like it's a pretty safe number. That felt extremely low for me, especially with the amount of hype that's coming out of Giants training camp. About him. So that's where I went. If you want to know the other ones I was thinking about, so I also had Keenan Allen with his yards. One I thought that was a little sneaky because of Kellen Moore. Justin Herbert, 200 rushing yards on the season.
I mean, wild.
This is a dude who had 90 in one game against the Pittsburgh Steelers 2 years ago. I mean, I feel like he's going to open up the playbook a little bit more just because Kellen Moore. And one more that I thought about was 0.5 rushing
Jared Goff.
passing touchdown. Not Jared Goff. Travis Kelce. 0.5 rushing touchdown.
That'd be crazy. If we did that, you know how crazy of a sweat that would be all season?
Oh,
the
yeah, that would
idea
be
of
insane.
waiting to see if he gets one.
What if it hit week 1?
I mean, okay, the thing is that I would like about that bet is that the Chiefs do such extraneous bullshit on offense.
That's what I'm saying.
That makes like teams rate like that ring around the rosy shit they did against the Raiders last year. Like, I see what you're saying with the run, and the fact that that's on the board means they know that could happen.
They know it could happen. And like, I was trying to think and I don't think they've changed the rule yet where the shuffle pass forward is a rush instead of but I was like, when I first thought about it, I'm like, oh, he's got to have one every year because of the shuffle pass. But that technically sounds as receiving, but he might hand it off one time and just get in there. Travis Kelce has taken snaps under center at the goal line.
I know. I'm not saying that would just be a massive sweat because then you would just be waiting and waiting. And then, like, say they did run it and he just like fucks it up, then you would just be like, oh my God, like it's never happening again all season.
Yeah, that's why I didn't pick it. I thought it was fun, but because it feels like something that could really happen. And you only need one.
The one that I was also looking at that I thought could have been like a fun sweat for the season, like you'd really have to be locked in on it, was Trayvon Diggs over 3.5 interceptions. I know he gets cooked like crazy, but it'd be kind of fun to be like, oh, did he get a pick this week? Did he get a pick this week? Did he get an interception? Tailing into red zone. He's getting burned. Maybe it's an interception. He's getting burned. Maybe it's an interception. Who knows? 3.5 would have been a fun number, but
3.5. Another one I thought about going with Micah Parsons, 13.25 sacks.
Yeah. The last one I'll name, Najee Harris over 1,000 yards rushing.
You picking the over on that?
Over on that. His volume is still going to be huge.
Yeah, his volume is massive.
Yeah.
Volume is huge.
I think I want to see him hit that every year in the league. So, but so to recap, they can't lose from the backseat parlay. Desmond Ridder over passing yards, Keenan Allen over receiving yards. Your two were
Aaron Rodgers
over
and Darren Waller over receiving touchdowns.
So we didn't pick a single under because life's too short to bet the under. So you always bet the over.
Betting the under.
No one likes betting.
Why would I sit here and pick unders?
Unders are the worst because every single time I pick an under, it gets all screwed up.
I will say the one under I thought about, I didn't end up picking it, but I really thought about it, was Justin Fields passing yards.
I feel like that would have been an interesting fade.
I really thought about it because let me find it because I can tell you what it was, but I looked at it. It's basically 3,000 passing yards, which doesn't feel that's not high, crazy. But with the amount that he runs the ball,
yeah, maybe it becomes something different.
They're really hyping up the passing offense, and I get it, but if there was one under, I thought about Justin Fields, mainly because that offensive line is not going to give him a lot of time to throw the ball. Mm-hmm. So he's going to be scrambling a lot.
I think that's fair. I think it's very fair.
So I thought about that one. Yeah.
I like her picks, though. I think I could go 4 for 4.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. We should have put in the Travis Kelce one. That would have been fun.
There's still plenty of time. There's no rules.
Yeah, if anyone wants to add a 5th one to our parlay and drop it in, put in the Travis Kelce one just for fun. Yeah, throw it in for fun. If you guys want to know, I actually filled out, if you want to do it on Prize Picks right now, they're running a promo where you can do like a free bet of the first week. You get 3 and you win $25. I just picked all Chargers.
It's the right thing to do.
Prize Picks. We're not sponsored.
No, we'd like to be, though. That'd be great.
Yeah, it's just the only legal thing in California.
We can do daily fantasy, so DraftKings we could do too. Or you could do sleeper fantasy.
That's also true.
But we don't.
Fantasy football is upon us, and
it's so
fantasy takes are also upon us. So congratulations.
The worst.
Ew, it's the worst. The amount of people talking about this first overall pick is just insane. Who cares?
No one actually gives a shit. Go touch grass.
I mean, Oh no, you're gonna pick Justin Jefferson or Christian McCaffrey or Jamar Chase.
What will
Who
we ever
cares?
do?
They'll all be good. Who cares?
That being said, if you don't think I'm losing my mind week one over my fantasy team's performance, you could not be more wrong. I dedicate my life to that.
I mean, it's my entire life, basically. It's my
Pretty
livelihood.
much.
I bet all money on my fantasy team all week.
I love and live for it.
Well, this has been From the Backseat. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We are official fantasy podcast from now on. We will only cover fantasy football in the insides and outsides. Next week, we will only cover training camp news, not anything to do with the preseason, just what's going on in training camp, because apparently people care about that.
Big deal.
And we will only cover teams in the MLB who have off days.
Yes.
That is the only coverage we will do, because that's all anyone cares about. So this has been From the Backseat. I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Remember to subscribe, like, enjoy us on YouTube. Make sure to follow us on TikTok, Twitter, all the different platforms.
We'll get those firing again here soon.
Yeah, Threads is dead, so don't care about that.
Threads is so dead.
No one cares about Threads. That was a one-day thing.
Never.
Yeah, follow us on X. Stupid name, but whatever. This has been From the Backseat. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Have a good one, folks.